Officer Michael Calhoun's face during the color as District Attorney Victoria Bennett's name flashed on his cell phone. 20 minutes ago, he'd handcuffed her twin daughters on the sidewalk, ignoring their pleas and mocking their lies about their identity. Now, his 18-year career was hanging by a thread. Before we dive into this powerful story about prejudice, accountability, and transformation, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments below. If you've ever witnessed or experienced racial profiling, hit that like button to show solidarity with those affected by this ongoing issue. Don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking stories that shine a light on social justice issues in our communities. Now, let's rewind and see exactly how Officer Calhoun's misguided assumptions led to a moment that would forever change multiple lives and an entire police department. Officer Michael Calhoun adjusted his sunglasses against the bright spring sunshine as he guided his patrol car through the tree-lined streets of Hillrest, the wealthiest neighborhood in Oakwood. The 42-year-old veteran cop had transferred to this precinct just 6 months ago after 15 years working in the city's rougher eastern districts, and he still hadn't fully adjusted to the manicured lawns and sprawling estates that made up his new beat. The pristine sidewalks and carefully maintained flower beds felt almost foreign after years of patrolling areas with boarded-up storefronts and crumbling infrastructure. Still, Calhoun took pride in his role keeping Hillrest safe, which in his mind primarily meant ensuring that people who didn't belong were promptly questioned and removed if they couldn't provide a satisfactory reason for their presence. As he cruised past West Ridge Academy, an exclusive private school where annual tuition exceeded $30,000, Calhoun noticed 2 Black teenage girls walking along the sidewalk. They wore the school's distinctive navy blue and gold uniforms, pleated skirts, blazers with embroidered crests, and polished shoes that marked them as students of the prestigious institution. Jasmine and Zoe Bennett, 16-year-old identical twins with neatly braided hair pulled back into matching ponytails, were heading to a nearby cafe to study after debate team practice. Their animated conversation about the upcoming Model UN competition, where they would be representing France, was punctuated with laughter as they carried expensive backpacks and textbooks. Calhoun's brow furrowed as he watched them through his window. In his mind, these girls didn't match his image of Westridge students, despite their uniforms and the school's proximity. Without conscious deliberation, he made a U-turn at the next intersection and slowly followed them for a block, observing their body language and movements with the scrutiny he developed during years of proactive policing and the high M and the mine high crime areas. His suspicion, formed without evidence but rooted in deeply held biases, led him to pull alongside the girls and roll down his passenger window. "You two stop right there," he called out in the authoritative tone he'd perfected over years of police work. The girls paused mid-conversation, startled by the command. Their expressions shifted quickly from confusion to wariness as they exchanged a knowing glance that communicated volumes between them. This wasn't the first time they'd been profiled, and they both recognized what was happening. Calhoun parked his patrol car and stepped out, his right hand resting near his weapon in a stance that projected authority but also implied potential threat. "I'm going to need some identification and an explanation for why you're in this neighborhood," he stated, firmly, approaching the girls with the cautious posture he'd use when confronting potential criminal suspects. The twins maintained perfect composure despite the immediate tension of the situation. "We're West Ridge students, heading to Bloom Cafe to study." "Officer," Jasmine explained politely, her voice steady as she reached slowly for her student ID in her blazer pocket. Calhoun immediately tensed at her movement, his hand shifting closer to his weapon. "Freeze," he ordered sharply, his voice escalating to a volume that attracted attention from people walking nearby. "Keep your hands where I can see them." Jasmine immediately complied, raising both hands slightly while explaining, "I was just reaching for my school ID, sir." After directing her to retrieve it with exaggerated caution, Calhoun examined both twin student identification cards with obvious skepticism, turning them over and holding them out to the light as if searching for signs of forgery. Despite the school's distinctive holographic seal and matching photos, girls like you don't go to Westridge, he said dismissively as he handed the cards back. The implication of his words were unmistakable. Zoe, slightly more outspoken than her sister, raised an eyebrow. "What exactly do you mean by girls like us, officer?" she asked directly, challenging his assumption while maintaining a respectful tone. Her question clearly agitated Calhoun, whose expression hardened. "Just sit down on the curb while I verify your story," he ordered, gesturing to the sidewalk's edge as if directing criminals at a crime scene. The confrontation had begun attracting attention, with several passersby slowing to observe the interaction. Among them were Westridge parents who recognized the Bennett twins but hesitated to intervene, uncomfortable with challenging police authority, even when witnessing potential misconduct. Calhoun called in the girls' names for verification, informing dispatch he was investigating possible truancy and trespassing despite their school uniforms and identification. When Zoe attempted to call their parents as the situation escalated, Calhoun immediately confiscated both their phones, claiming he needed to secure them as potential evidence, a justification with no basis in actual police procedure. Throughout this escalating situation, the Bennett twins remained remarkably composed, having been carefully instructed by their parents about exactly these scenarios. Their dignified responses and articulate questioning of Calhoun's actions seemed to further agitate the officer, who seemed increasingly determined to assert his authority. "My mother is District Attorney Victoria Bennett," Jasmine informed him calmly as he continued questioning them about their real reason for being in Hill Rest. Calhoun laughed dismissively at this claim, his disbelief obvious. "Sure, and my dad's the president," he mocked, clearly considering this a desperate lie from teenagers attempting to evade consequences. Despite growing protests from bystanders, including a Westridge teacher who recognized the twins and attempted to confirm their identities, Calhoun proceeded to handcuff both girls, citing obstruction and providing false information to a peace officer. His body camera recorded the entire interaction, every dismissive comment, every unfounded accusation, and every composed and articulate response from the teenagers that contradicted his assumptions about them. The mounting evidence that he was making a serious error seemed invisible to him as he focused solely on confirming his initial suspicions. His radio crackled repeatedly with requests from dispatch to verify his actions before proceeding further. Calls he deliberately ignored as he requested a patrol car to transport the girls to the station. The situation had fully escalated when Calhoun's phone rang with his sergeant's direct number. He initially ignored the call, but when it immediately rang again, he reluctantly answered. His expression transformed from confident authority to shocked realization as he listened to the voice on the other end, finally understanding the magnitude of his mistake. Sergeant Patricia Rodriguez's voice came through Calhoun's phone with unmistakable urgency. "Mike, verify who you've detained, now." The unusual tension in her normally unflappable supervisor's tone cut through Calhoun's certainty like a knife through butter. He stepped away from the handcuffed twins, turning his back as if this physical distance might somehow shield them from hearing the conversation about to unfold. "Just some truant kids claiming to be Westridge students," he responded with lingering confidence, his voice lowered but still audible to those nearby. "Caught them trespassing in Hill Rest. They've got fake IDs and—" Rodriguez cut him off mid-sentence. "Those are District Attorney Bennett's daughters, you idiot. Release them immediately. The DA's already on your way to your location." The words hit Calhoun like a physical blow, his world tilting as he processed this information. He turned slowly to look at the twins with new eyes, suddenly seeing their composed demeanor not as defiance, but the confidence of young women who knew exactly who they were and what rights they possessed. His mind raced through the interaction, recalling every dismissive comment, every unfounded accusation, and every composed and articulate response from the teenagers that contradicted his assumptions about them. The mounting evidence that he was making a serious error seemed invisible to him as he focused solely on confirming his initial suspicions. As this reality sank in, a sleek black SUV with government plates screeched to a halt nearby, the vehicle's sudden appearance drawing attention from the growing crowd of onlookers. Victoria Bennett emerged from the driver's side, a formidable black woman in her early 50s, wearing an impeccable charcoal suit that radiated authority. Her expression was a controlled mask of fury as she surveyed the scene before her handcuffed daughters sitting on the curb while a white police officer stood nearby, looking increasingly uncomfortable. She wasn't alone. Her chief of staff emerged from the passenger side, while the Oakwood Police Department's internal affairs director, whom she had called en route, arrived in a separate vehicle moments later. Calhoun